Hi guys, it's me Terry of the Yarnjoy podcast. Welcome back to another tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to learn how to do this Picot shell border. This pattern was designed by a lady that I met in a crochet group on Facebook years ago. On Facebook she goes by the name of Chicky Magoo, and she gave me permission to make a tutorial on how to crochet this pattern. So thank you, Chicky, for letting me be able to share it with everybody. Let's get started. Okay, so for this border pattern you want to use the same weight yarn as you did the main body of your blanket. I used a number 3 weight yarn for this project. So for my border I'm using this white Bernat Softy Baby yarn. It is a 3 weight yarn. So you want to use the same weight as your blanket and the same hook that you used for the blanket. For this blanket I used 4.5 millimeter hook. Okay, and then of course you will need scissors and a yarn needle to weave in your ends at the end. Okay. Let's see, I think that is it and then also, so what I did already, as you see my border yarn is already attached. You need a foundation row. You can do any stitch. I chose to do just a single crochet stitch all the way around, okay? And you want to have a multiple of 10 stitches all the way around, okay? That is including the stitches, that's the corner stitch, in other words. This is a continuous border that's going to just continue all the way around, and so you're wanting to count the stitches, like I said, all the way around, and have a multiple of 10, and that is counting the corner stitches. Okay, so the way I put my foundation row on here, I made sure that when I ended up slip stitching into the very corner stitch, because that's where I want to start my pattern for the border. Okay, so if your yarn is not already attached, you know, if you did your foundation row in some other yarn, then you want to attach your yarn just with the slip stitch in that very corner stitch. Okay, now I'm going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. And in that same corner stitch, I'm going to do 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so the chain up 3 counts as your first double crochet. So what you actually made here is what I'm just going to be calling a fan, okay, and that is 7, equivalent to 7 double crochets. This first chain up 3 is the first one. Okay, and after you do that 7 double crochet fan, chain 1 and then skip 3 stitches, and don't forget to count the very first one. It might get covered up by all those stitches that was in that previous space, but just don't forget to count that one. Okay, so you're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, then chain 2, 1 and 2, skip 1 stitch and single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, then chain 1, and now we're going to do another the fan stitch. Okay, so after you chain 1, you're going to skip 3, and I went ahead and yarned over because I'm getting ready to do a double crochet. So skip 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then do a 7 double crochets, that fan stitch, into that next stitch. So 1, 2, pull some more yarn out here. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 2, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, and then you're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do the 7 double crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and that's the pattern right there. Now you're going to do that all the way around. If you have your stitch count correctly, and if you started in the corner stitch with your in the very beginning, then you should end up, when you get to the corner stitch of the next corner, you should have a 7 double crochet fan landing in that corner stitch. Okay, so let's do one more repeat, and then I'll let you finish up on your own. So you chain 1, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet in the next one, chain 2, skip 1, single crochet in the next one, chain 1, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 7 double crochets in the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so that is your repeat pattern. So keep working on that, repeating those stitches, and I will meet you up when I get ready to join back at the beginning. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm finishing up round 1. I've just did my one of my 7 double crochet fans, and now I'm going to chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next one, chain 2, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next one, chain 1, and then skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and you see that will get you back to the beginning. And I'm going to just slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 from the beginning. Okay, so that completes round 1. Going on to round 2, right where we're at, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that is in place of a one double crochet and a chain 1. Okay, so now we're going to double crochet into the top of the next stitch, the double crochet. Okay, chain 1, and then double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1. Okay, and now we're going to double crochet into that chain 2 space that we from the previous round that we formed between the 2 single crochets. We're going to single crochet into that chain 2 space. Okay, then chain 1, and then we're going to repeat exactly what we did in the top of each fan across. Okay, so we're going to double crochet into the first double crochet of that fan group, chain 1, and then we're going to do the same thing all the way across with chain 1s in between each double crochet. Okay, just like that. Don't forget your chain 1 in between the double crochets. Then when you get to your last one, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to single crochet into that chain 2 space. Okay, and then chain 1, and then we're going to repeat again, double crochets in the top of each of the double crochets of the fan with a chain 1 in between, and then chain 1, and then single crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 1, and then we start again. And so you're going to repeat that sequence all the way around, and I will meet you up when I am finishing this round. Okay, Okay, so I'm coming up on the end of round 2. I just did my last double crochet into the double crochet below, and then I'm going to chain 1, single crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 1, and then now I'm going to slip stitch into, now not the top is a chain, remember we started with a chain 4, so I don't want to slip stitch in the top, that would be the chain 4. I want to slip stitch in the 3rd chain, so that way it still appears as we have, looks like we have a chain, well it is a chain 1 in between the 2 double crochets, see? Okay, so on to round 3, and this is the final round of the border. Okay, I want to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of the next double crochet. See that? I'm going to skip over the chain 1, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip over that chain 1 and slip stitch into the double crochet. Whoops. Okay, chain 3, skip over the chain 1 and slip stitch into the top of the double crochet. Chain 3, skip over the chain 1, slip stitch into the top of the chain the top of the double crochet. Chain 3, skip over the chain 1, slip stitch into the top of the double crochet. See that? So we're just going to do that all the way around. Chain 3, skip over that chain 1, slip stitch into the top of the double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to slip stitch into the single crochet, okay? Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the double crochet. See? Oops. Slip stitch. Okay, so we're just going to do that all the way around, and that forms our little picot edging at the top, or yeah, on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this. Chain 3, slip stitch into the top of the double crochet. Remember, when you get between the 2 fans, you're going to chain 3 and then slip stitch into that single crochet, and then chain 3 and then slip stitch into the double crochet, and keep going, okay? And I will meet you up when I get around to the end of this round, okay? Okay, so I'm coming up to the end of round 3. I've got a chain 3 right here, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch at the base of our starting chain, okay? Okay, and we are finished. Okay, so now I'm going to fasten off. Of course, I forgot to get a pair of scissors. Just a minute. Okay, so we're going to fasten off. So I'm going to snip my yarn, and then I'm going to chain up, like I'm going to chain up 1, but then I just continue to pull my yarn all the way through and pull on it to give it snug it up to make it tight. And then I will take my yarn needle and I will weave in my end, and then it will be finished. So that is the end of this tutorial. I'm hoping that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you will find this border useful to add to one of your projects. I think it turned out very pretty. It just really dresses up if you have something that's just has a simple stitch for the body of the blanket, it really can dress up your project. Okay, so thanks everybody for watching the tutorial, and thank you to Chicky for allowing us to learn her pattern, and we will see you in the next video. Bye guys!